How's it going, class? My name is Christopher Sykes, and the book that I decided to read is called Ghosts in the Wires: My Adventures as the World's Most Wanted Hacker. This book was about and written by a guy named Kevin Mitnick. It totals 448 pages, and I was able to read that in 2 days. The only reason I was able to read that in 2 days is because it's a really great read. It holds your interest, and it's actually really enjoyable. And this follows in the footsteps of Kevin, and he goes from how he grew up into where he is now. Essentially, you can follow in his footsteps and become just like Kevin. I wouldn't recommend it because he did end up on the run and land himself in prison. Kevin hacked into a total of 40 different organizations, and he was able to do this through manipulation. He called this technique social engineering, and essentially what it does is it cons people into giving you information. And you build a relationship with that person, they trust you. Next thing you know, you're asking for certain secure information, and they're giving it to you because they believe that you either need help or you know someone that knows someone. Another technique Kevin would use is something called phone phreaking with a PH. And essentially what phreaking is you manipulate the telecommunication systems. And Kevin was able to gain access to someone else's cell phone number. And at the time, in the 80s, cell phones were extremely large and very pricey. It would cost about $1 per minute. And so Kevin would use someone else's phone number, call anywhere in the world for free for as long as he wants. He was also able to figure out a phone forwarding feature where he could tell other people his number was someone else's line, and then it would forward back to his phone. He was also able to hack into computers via modems because this was the age before Wi-Fi. The interesting thing about Kevin is that he would never use the information that he found on his hacking for his own personal gain. He only wanted to do it for entertainment. It was kind of like a trophy for him. If he hacked into one system and he conquered that, he would move on to the next one. So a lot of people couldn't understand that why he would have these access to bank accounts and social security numbers and not use it or sell it to another person to make money off of it. In 1979, his luck finally ran out, and he was caught breaking into a network, and he stole a computer operating system. And he was charged with 1 year in prison and 3 years supervised release. And the terms of his release is he had to stay out of contact with other hackers. He could not hack, obviously. He could not phreak. He could not do anything illegal, or he's going to go back to prison. He then got caught hacking into Pacific Bell, which is now owned by AT&T. And then he became a fugitive on the run. He was able to acquire people's social security numbers and birth certificates via social engineering so he could make new IDs. This aided him to be able to live in multiple different places, but the problem that he experienced was the FBI was always one step behind him. He eventually moved to Seattle, then to Denver, and then to North Carolina. For the 2.5 years that he was on the run as a fugitive, the problem with Kevin is he couldn't stop. He loved the thrill of hacking. And if he would have been able to blend in with a new identity. But he couldn't. He described it as an addiction, like an alcoholic. Kevin started drawing a lot of attention in the media, and the press was labeling him as the Darth Vader of hacking. A lot of times rumors and fabrications would come up which would be completely false, one of which that he had the capabilities to hack into the United States government's NORAD defensive systems. Of course, all good things must come to an end, and on February 15th, 1995, he was finally arrested. He was charged with 14 counts of fraud, possession of unauthorized access devices on 8 counts, interception of wire and electronic communications, unauthorized access to a federal computer, and causing damages to a computer. On January 21, 2000, he was finally released from prison, but he wasn't allowed to use technology until 3 years later. Now he has completely changed his life around, and he started his own security consulting company. He gets hired by Fortune 500 companies to make their systems more secure. He goes in and does the exact same thing he was doing before, tries to hack into their system, and tells them how he did it and how they can fix it. Overall, I thought it was a very awesome book. I would definitely read it again or another one that he wrote. He has one called The Art of Deception, which goes more into social engineering, which should be a lot of fun and very interesting. And I think that this book relates really well to the concepts that we learn in the class, especially with surveillance and big data and data mining. He was able to compile data from organizations to get inside their systems very easy, and also on the FBI side, that's kind of how they were able to follow him by collecting data and monitoring their own systems. Overall, I would give the book about a 9.2 out of 10. And yeah, you should read it. And once again, my name is Christopher Sykes, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed giving this video to you. Until next time, adios.